Yes, baby, and just like that, your Feel Good Breakfast show is a go. We are here all in the name of making sure that you're smiling this morning, but we also want to make sure we're informed, right? And this is why in Breastfeeding Awareness Week, we have got a lovely lady by the name of Londe Kilentsiba, aka Sister Londe, and honestly somebody who has helped so many women through this incredible journey of motherhood. And finding their feet is more than anything else you can say, because it can be one that is a multifaceted journey, but it always helps to have that help, and especially somebody who knows the ups and downs of it and understands all of the turns and this and that in between. So this is why this morning, everybody, let's welcome her as we get to know a little bit more about breastfeeding. It is Londe Kilentsiba. Sister Londe, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, and you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
It's the truth, my lovely lady. But I want us to jump right into it, please, because I feel like so many people have misconceptions about breastfeeding. For a long time, it's even been taboo doing it in certain places and everything. So can I please ask you, what are those misconceptions that a lot of women have?
Some of the misconceptions are that if you are HIV positive, you cannot breastfeed because of the risk of transmission. But that's not true. If you are your viral load is suppressed and you're receiving proper medical treatment, you can breastfeed. And that's even better, because then the baby gets a better immunity against certain childhood illnesses. So that's one of the myths that we're always trying to dispel in our communities. And another myth on the lighter side is that some mums with the bigger bosoms, you know, with the larger breasts, they think that they won't produce enough milk. But it's actually not true. It's just fatty tissue that you have that's making your breast large. But all the other cells that help with the ducts that help with breastfeeding, they are perfectly fine. They are functional, and with enough stimulation and bonding with the baby, you can breastfeed successfully and produce enough milk.
You see, Sister Londe, this is why we have you here, so that we have all of this information, because like you say, you know, there are those things that some women just don't know. However, I also know that when we talk about skin-to-skin contact, it can be very important when you need to now establish breastfeeding with your baby. But how important is it?
Skin-to-skin is the most wonderful thing. Sometimes I look at the mums and the babies doing skin-to-skin and I get goosebumps. And I feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So skin-to-skin is best initiated as soon as the baby is born, to put baby on your chest. And immediately you can see the mums relax and you can see them have that joy. It also helps the baby regulate baby's body temperature, their heart rate. It just keeps them calm. And then what it also does is that it triggers this instinct in the newborns. I've seen a few videos, and I've seen it with other mums, where the baby suddenly crawls towards the breast and they can smell their moms and they just want to latch and feed. And it also stimulates the hormone that helps create breast milk, called oxytocin. So you see that really helps, and then the mums are relaxed, they're calm. Even dads can do skin-to-skin, it helps with bonding, or the other birthing partner, they can also do skin-to-skin. But particularly for breastfeeding, it just sets the tone for it. Stimulates the milk, comforts the baby, makes mom calm, and if mom is calm, then breastfeeding also works out even better.
Beautiful. And you spoke of latching. I think that for me, I'm not a mother yet, one day, but today is not the day. However, I've seen a lot of, you know, movies and series where sometimes, you know, they'll take us through that sort of journey that women go through when a baby isn't latching. So how does this actually impact the baby and the mother?
When mums are struggling to latch, it's a bit of a frustration, right? Because then they start to feel like every time they need to feed the baby, it's like, oh, wasuga logo, right? And that's very distressing. So even for the baby as well, because you're struggling to latch, the baby becomes restless, agitated. So you get this negative like feedback loop, like a cycle where mum is distressed, baby is distressed. So if we're not latching right, then it also means that we're not going to be able to produce enough milk. Your nipples are going to be cracked, they're going to be sore, and it just turns into this like experience that's not so positive or the way that you had planned. So getting a good latch is very, very important from the beginning.
Okay, and obviously there's different ways to do that.
Yes, there's different ways to do that. We recently did like a series of videos on our Instagram showing mummies how to latch, trying out different positions. And I'd say mums must take advantage of the opportunity that they they have while they're in hospital.
Okay.
After the birth, where the midwives are there to help guide them, show them different latching techniques, how to know when the baby is properly latched. So, for example, we always say you need to make sure that the baby takes in a big chunk of the areola and not just the nipple.
Yes.
Because if they're just taking the nipple, it aggravates that rawness and the discomfort.
Oh, I just saw that visual that you just have a baby just latching on there. That's so adorable.
It's the most amazing thing.
Right. I can imagine that your job is just so fulfilling,
It
Sister
is.
Londe.
It
Oh,
is.
man. But obviously we know as well that, it's very important for postnatal nurturing, or rather postnatal care. Speak to me about the importance of that, please.
Okay. So, postnatal care is important, but I believe that it starts in the antenatal period.
Okay.
So during pregnancy, if you get an opportunity to attend antenatal classes where you get to learn about breastfeeding, right?
Yeah.
Then you prime your mind, you prep yourself. It's almost like having, when you want to progress in your career, you'll have a life coach, you'll have a fitness coach at the gym. So if you start during the antenatal period, just preparing your mind for the journey ahead to say, I'm going to breastfeed, understanding the benefits of breastfeeding, learning about the different latching techniques.
Yeah.
So if you start and you've prepared yourself, you've got information, you've got all your tools and your resources, in the postpartum period, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
But then back to your question about the postpartum period. Sorry, I get carried
No,
away
girl,
when we
tell
talk
us
about,
everything.
breastfeeding.
Yes.
So in the postpartum period, the midwives like to take advantage of what we call the golden hour. So that's the first hour after the baby is born, right?
Yeah.
That's when we stop all the medical interventions and stuff, and we want to focus on getting mum and baby to bond and to latch.
Oh.
Okay, so we've got those 9 instinctive stages of the newborn, and we take advantage of that in the first hour.
I love
so that's the kind of support that the midwives would provide early on in the postpartum period.
Yes. Sister Londe, I'm going to call you the day that I have a child, all right?
I'll be here. I'll be right there.
Lovely. An Expresso family. She is one to trust, and so are our incredible midwives all around the country, particularly when we are getting to know more about this beautiful phase of becoming a mother. And honestly, something that's with you forever, actually. Not just a phase, but I think that early development of becoming a mother in the initial stages. It is beautiful as well, the fact that Sister Londe is not going anywhere. No, because we are continuing with Breastfeeding Awareness Week. But for now, we're heading over to Cape TZ with my amazing family. Hi, guys.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
You're still on your Feel Good Breakfast show right here on S3. And the lovely thing is that we've only just gotten started. However, we're having those conversations that matter, all about Breastfeeding Awareness Week, rather. And I think this morning we 100% have the best. Her name is Sister Londe. And we are finding out mostly as well about how it impacts women when they do or don't breastfeed, as well as, what it means to go back to work while you're breastfeeding. Sister Londe, are you still good?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. I think that it's always such an incredible thing to see a woman step into motherhood, but it obviously comes with all of these different things, right? Like me returning back to work. How do I do this? Particularly when I'm breastfeeding and maybe my baby's at home and I'm at work. What are some of the things we need to know about that, and what do employers also need to possibly provide?
It is possible to continue breastfeeding once you go back to work. I've had mums who say, I'm going back to work, so I'm going to start the baby on formula.
Yeah.
You really don't have to start formula. So what you can do is start expressing, right?
Yes.
And it takes a lot of planning, because now you're going to be, it's like a balancing act. You're back at work and you need to continue expressing and feeding the baby, caring for a baby, especially if you've got 2 other children and now you've got a newborn. So it's quite a balancing act. So I'd say planning is definitely key, right?
Yeah.
So plan to say, if I can get in a nice good feed around 6 or 7 in the morning before I go to work, and around tea time, because you need to try and express or pump every 3 to 4 hours. And then every 3 to 4 hours, by 10 in the morning, 11, you're pumping again. And then at lunchtime, you pump, and by the time you get home, it's 4 or 5 in the evening, and you can feed the baby again. So planning is key, making sure you've got your ice pack, your cooler box just to store your milk. And it's a part of labor law or good practice for employers to provide a safe environment for moms to be able to breastfeed in the workplace, and also as well as time to pump and express in the workplace. So it's important for you to also express before you go back to work to your manager to say, I'm going to need to make time for expressing for my baby as well, between my lunch breaks and between meetings and so forth.
I hope all the employers are hearing you.
It's very important because they benefit as well, because the more they breastfeed, the less the babies get sick and the less the employees need to take family responsibility leave.
True.
So it's a win-win.
You see, Sister Londa, you see, you are mathing nice maths here because it's making sense. Yes. Also, on top of that, though, even talking about how it's a win-win for everyone, I feel like you always want your, your employees to be their mental state and their best physical state. So how does breastfeeding, affect those things with the mother?
Breastfeeding is the most amazing thing. My aunt breastfed my baby cousin Uzanda, and we could see at some point that this is now no longer for the baby. She's enjoying this now. This is all for her. That's how beautiful breastfeeding is. So the one thing about breastfeeding is that it gives you that sense of fulfillment. You're nurturing your baby. You've got a special bond. You create a special bond with this baby, and you just feel like a sense of fulfillment, as well as physically, right? Immediately after birth, we want the uterus to go back to its unnatural, unpregnant state, right? And the best way to do that is by breastfeeding. One of the best ways to do that is through breastfeeding. So if you're breastfeeding, your uterus contracts and then it can go back to its normal size. And that also helps prevent postpartum hemorrhages. That's just a fancy word for a medical term. You know, us medical people like to throw around these terms. But it's just to say it's to prevent hemorrhaging after birth. So if you're breastfeeding, that also helps. And as well, they say a lot of studies are coming up now. They're saying it helps prevent other chronic illnesses like diabetes, hypertension for the mums, even for babies. They say it's found that adults that were breastfed when they were younger, they have less chance of getting cancers, cervical cancers for the mums as well. There's just so many benefits physically and emotionally. And sorry to throw this in, economically as well. It's more cost effective.
That's true.
Because it's straight from the consumer, from the producer to the consumer. Better for the environment. It doesn't have to be transported around the country to reach the mums. It's really, really amazing.
I love this breastfeeding. Forgive me. Yes, I'm sorry. I got excited. I was going to say that breastfeeding is getting such great PR here today. I love it. It really is. But Sister Londe, I also know, of course, that, it takes a village. The mother can't do it alone. So how can everyone around them support the mother?
Definitely. You see, the thing is, firstly, the partners, right? I always say to the partners when we're doing antenatal classes, be a part of it, be informed. Okay? So because you are the one who can help mum pick up the early warning signs. Remember, she's all emotional about this whole experience and sometimes she's not objective. So if you are there attending the antenatal classes with her, when it's time to breastfeed, you understand how you can support her. You understand, okay, now this is colostrum. We're going to transition to fore milk, hind milk, and you can support her better because you're well informed. So that's the first step for the partners. Helping with the household chores, sorting out the meal so that mum doesn't have to stress about it, burping the baby, diaper changing so she can rest, remember? Because if she's not getting enough rest, then she won't be able to produce enough milk. So that's how the partners can support. And the rest of the family, when you come to visit, please be useful. Do not sit and stare at mummy while she's feeding or want to cuddle baby. Let her hold her baby. You do the dishes, do the laundry, cook for them, freeze some meals for them.
I love that. And we get to the house and we want to carry the baby. But you see, Sister Londe, you have freed so many women here today. And thank you for the amazing work that you do. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. You see, we've got absolute superheroes that are always here to help our moms on this journey of motherhood, particularly as we're getting to know more in Breastfeeding Awareness Week. And this, my friend, is a huge reminder to you of how you can be supportive to not just the moms, but the babies. And more than anything else, we heard here today how it helps everybody in the whole system, not just the moms and the babies alone. It is, of course, your Feel Good Breakfast show, and the feeling good, it continues, honey. And you know what always makes me feel good? It's those guys there in Cape Town. Hello, beautiful humans.